All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our graduate roundtable, our first of two this week. And we also have two trainee roundtables for you. And we try to do that to be fair, because the graduates, they're all done and they forget the grind maybe of the training aspect. The trainees, they might still be on a payment plan. They're ticked off at us. So we get you everyone so you can get an honest review of FDN. I'm kidding. No one's ticked off. But we do like to give you both approaches and insights here because it is a little bit different. You're going to meet people today, some of which have been graduated for just a few months. Others have been graduated for a couple of years. Gosh forbid you're talking about myself. I've now been graduated for over 9 years at this point from FDN, which is kind of insane, especially since I'm 30. It's like this is literally a fraction of my life they've been stuck with me. So that's kind of funny. Now, let me know in the chat. I see a lot of people already on, and the ladies, just so you guys know, there's about a 30 to 60 second delay on the chat for a restream, just so you know that they're answering our questions. Do me a favor, put a 1 in the chat if you were on for the keynote earlier. Please put a 2 in the chat if this is your first thing that you're attending outside or for our Black Friday events. Let me know. 1 for the keynote earlier, 2 for all the events. And I'm going to get, since my eyes are terrible, I'm going to get my TV on here so I can see the chat a little bit better. All right, move that over here. Hopefully there's some people in the chat by now. Okay, a lot of ones. Awesome. Oh, Deborah T made the keynote. How am I not surprised? Deborah T, for those that don't know, is like the star of all things live streams at this point. She doesn't miss a podcast. Russ is on. Russ is a close second for star of all things live stream. A lot of ones. Awesome. All right. Are there any 2s? It is particularly important, honestly, that you guys let me know if there are some 2s, because I want to make sure that we're not just jumping into anything without context here. While I wait for the rest of those numbers to come in, because it does matter, I'll give you guys an idea of what we're doing today. So this is a graduate roundtable. It's an event that we occasionally do here at FDN when we have multiple weeks of events going on. And as far as I know, we're one of the only places that does this. So we literally go into our graduate group. We pull people that want to share their experience with FDN. They are not scripted questions. They do not know that these questions are going to be asked. And you will be able to tell that because the ladies usually get very frustrated with me when I do not explain the questions to them before, and then I make them go live in front of an undisclosed amount of people. I won't tell them. It's enough, right? And, now they're being asked questions in front of everyone. So here's the bottom line for today. There is no trick questions, but it is meant to be very honest. I told them beforehand, and I will tell them this again live. There is no perfect program out there. There is no way that this program could be for every single person at every single time. So what we're trying to do here is get honest answers so that people that are considering this course right now, because all of us signed up at different times, right? I mean, this course is a $10,000 investment. This month with the $2,000 off, it actually, it's over $10,000 technically. It comes down to $9,500 for paying full. Payment plans is a little bit more. Now, for the right person, we all know this is totally worth it. But for the person that this is not ideal for, it might not be worth it at all. So we want to make sure that people are getting involved that want to be involved. It seems like everyone made it earlier. It's a bunch of 1s in the chat. So I'm really glad that you guys got to see that keynote. Kelsey was unbelievable. That was even better than I was expecting. And I thought it'd be pretty good. So let's get into this. We don't have a ton of time, right? We got about 54 minutes. If you guys have any questions that you want to drop in the chat, I do encourage that, although I do go through a set of questions typically because there are some main things that we need to get to. I think first and most appropriate is just to get to meet these wonderful folks and figure out what they were doing before FDN. So ladies, this is not something that you have to be like super conscious of. Just generally speaking, most of these answers we'd probably want to keep to 2 to 3 minutes each. So again, you don't have to put a timer up. Don't worry about it, but just around 2 to 3 minutes. So we're going to go in this order. We will go with Kim first, Gina, Patricia, and Ivana, and then we will kind of go in reverse order for the second question. So let's start with this first one. I would just like to know, could you shout out your name, even though that they can see it on this platform, if they're listening while driving, which they shouldn't be. What's your name? What were you doing before FDN that even made you want to get into something like this? And Kim, we will start with you, my friend.
All right, thank you. So Kim Del Castillo is my name. I raised my kids for a lot of years. That's what I was doing. And then in 2020, I was staging homes. Well, as you know, in 2020, we weren't allowed to go into other people's homes. So I decided, I enjoyed health and learning about nutrition and all these things. And I signed up for FDN, and here I am.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim. And Kim and I have, we go way back at this point. Kim and I have even shared an Airbnb with some friends for conferences. So she's awesome. And she lives near me in Austin, Texas. Gina is up next. Gina is like, makes me feel like $1,000,000. She treated my family like gold at a conference recently. So, Gina, what's your name? What were you doing before FDN? Because you got a really interesting story.
I do, yes. Thank you, Ev. My name is Gina Lopez, and I am an FDN practitioner. I currently also I do have a day job still that I'm transitioning out into FDN as I retire. But I do work for the U.S. Navy SEALs here in Coronado. So I'm here down in Southern California. The Navy SEALs train over in Coronado, and I do, let me tell you everything I do for them. Actually, I'm not. I do not discuss what it is I do, but it is pretty fun. So what did I do before? I can do something like that. So my grad school, my training is I have a master's in city and regional planning. So I used to be a city planner for a local city. Prior to that, I did do some business. I have an undergraduate degree in organizational leadership, but my original first degree is in kinesiology. So study of human movement. So this is something that I enjoy doing. Yes, someone's saying they love Coronado. It is very beautiful to be there. When the guys are training, though, it's pretty intense. But anyhow, yeah. So kinesiology is where I first began my education out of high school, and I fell in love with exercise. Even though we only had one nutrition course in the entire 4-year study, but exercise and sports science was something I really enjoyed. So fitness and health is kind of where it all began, but I do a little something secret.
That's really cool. Well, now you're making me intrigued because I didn't know it was secret. One of my lights just went out. Sorry, guys. I promise everything else all right. But Coronado, is that where they do the Hell Week too for the Navy SEALs, or am I wrong?
Correct. That's where the training is. So the guys that train there, they're in Coronado. They're not quite SEALs. The buds are there, the basic underwater demolition SEAL team. Yeah, so they're in training. And you're right, it is. Hell Week happens. That's where we lose the bigger portion of the students when they're trying to go through the program.
You know what? I knew the military had tough training, but that's actually even particularly torturous because if you guys haven't been to Coronado, My Heart for Health on YouTube is totally right. I mean, it's like literally one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. And so not only are they putting you on this island where like you have some of the coolest stuff that you could possibly have, but you're going to go swim in the water and basically, push the human body as far as it can be pushed. While someone else is sleeping kindly in their $5 million celebrity mansion on the beach. That's another level of psychological torture. So I never even thought about that. Probably awesome once you're done though. So thank you, Gina. Patricia, yes. Another person I've had the privilege of meeting in person. So what were you doing before FDN, and just your full name for anyone that's listening on audio later, please?
Sure. I'm Patricia Elliott, and I'm a pretty recent grad. I just graduated about a month ago. And so I'm still getting the business up and going. But prior to that, and I still have my day job, I am an account manager in the translation localization field. So a lot of people may not know what that means. But basically, if you buy something and the manual has multiple languages, my company helps companies figure that out. And I fell into this sort of stuff because of my own health journeys. And so I actually started with health coaching at a health coaching program last year. And then that's how I found FDN, and knew from the moment I started talking to FDN that was the path I needed to go on. So.
Awesome. Well, glad to have you. Ivana, okay, I got to shout Ivana out a little bit here too, because she came into our business mastermind on the graduate side, and it was just like, bam, client. So this is someone you definitely want to listen to about that stuff. Whether or not she realizes it's amazing, it was very impressive to me. So Ivana, just your full name for everyone, and then what were you doing before FDN?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining in. My name is Iwona Bednarz-Major, and it's strange because I'm from Poland, and I arrived here when I was already in my, late 30s or 40s in America. That's why my accent is still, pretty out there. I became a nurse in Poland, anesthesiology and intensive care, but I worked only full-time for just a few years. Then I became Christian missionary, and I lived in Russia and then Middle East, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, underground work, all that jazz. Then I had 3 kids in the meantime. Then I homeschooled. We came to the States over 20 years ago, and that's what I was doing. I was just doing, homeschooling. But because I couldn't sit still, so I was inventing a lot of stuff for homeschoolers too, a lot of curriculum and groups and whatnot. And surprisingly, I never thought I'm going to go into anything related with health, particularly like at all. But in the last few years, my life went through a certain turmoil on two different levels. And somehow I ended up first studying traditional European kind of natural medicine for 3 years. It was a certificate in 3 years, but then I started to meet with people online and in person and talk about it and so on. Pretty quickly, I figured, okay, this is great. I can do something to a certain extent. But with a lot of people, it was the case that they needed something deeper, and I wanted to have some more specific information. And I realized, wait a second, who is doing something, to figure those things out? And I started researching back a year ago, and I narrowed it to 3 programs. FDN was one of those, and they have this extensive program in June. Literally, I was glued to the screen for 1 month. I think I was on 80 or 90% of those sessions live
Nice.
with a lot of people, and Ed was leading them. And I was like, this is the thing I need to do. I didn't have any money to put into this because of recent terrible stuff that was happening around me. So I literally asked some of my very, very close friends if they would invest in me and if they would just donate money. And then after I finish my course, I will help them with their health, which some of them did, few of them did, for which I'm very grateful. And I'm still paying for it, actually. I am on a 2-year plan because FDN is so gracious that they just take people who, they just ask you all kinds of questions. What do you want to do? I'm like, just give me those 2 years. I'm going to be very happy. So that's what they did. And I graduated last August. I mean, this
Nice.
August. So like what, 2.5 months ago, something like that. Yeah.
Awesome. I hope you guys caught that. Like there's some people that, again, whether or not they realize it, just have such a natural entrepreneurial spirit. And it's like, yeah, like I literally figured out a way to get the money for this course by crowdsourcing it organically through people that I know. I think that's one of the coolest FDN starting stories I've ever heard. So I'm so glad that you shared that part. I could probably spend all day with each of these individual ladies, but we got to keep going on each question here. So this is how this works on the grad round table, just so everyone has a fair amount of break time. So Ivana, I actually throw this next question to you. Then we'll go Patricia, Gina, Kim. And I have these ones on the screen for you guys just to make this a little easier. So now, one of the things that the people that are considering the course are normally, pretty invested in, because this is important to them. They usually want to know, how long did it take you to go through the course, and how long were you spending studying per week? These are all rough estimates, but I want to show you guys how much diversity there is even within that, because I don't actually know what the exact time frames are for these ladies. I guarantee it's going to be wildly different, and it's a self-paced course. So that's why we have it this way for you. So Ivana, how long did it take you to go through the course? And then do you know roughly how much time you were spending per week doing FDN?
So when we sign up, they tell you have 12 months. And I literally thought, dude, I'm going to do this all in 6 months. Well, it took me 15 for various reasons. So I got some extensions because they are very gracious and they help you, all alongside. It was because I had some months that I really had to stop for various reasons, and then I had to go back. On the beginning, I was very eager and I was going very quickly, but being me, I want to, dig deeper. So sometimes I would stop at some modules and just rewatch it, and then write all my notes. I had like 4 huge binders to do this and write my notes left and right, and then dig deeper and try to like reflect on them. Then I had some break, and then I would go back, and sometimes it would go back and forth. So yes, it took me 15 months. And per week, it's very hard to say again, but if I was like totally in it, I would say probably 6 hours a week to 8 hours a week. It would take me, easily. But then, reviewing at the end, I reviewed everything at least 1.5 times or even twice before I started to go to, final exams and practicums.
Sure. Thank you for mentioning the extensions. It's not something, again, she mentioned that there's circumstances that come up. Ideally, we don't want to have anyone do the extension, but guys, it's very, very small amount compared to the course. The whole reason that we put the 12 months is because, let's be dead honest, most of us operate this way. I certainly do. if you give me 2 years to do something, well, I'll take about 2 years, right? If you give me 12 months, it's going to be about 12 months, give or take a few. And so we just do that to help people kind of stay in line and have a goal. And obviously it still worked, because even with the extension, you kept around that 15-month mark. So thank you, Ivana. Patricia, what about you? You just freshly graduated, so you should probably have a good answer with this in terms of knowing, like, what were you spending per week roughly studying, and how long overall did it take you to get through the course?
Yeah, well, I'm going to touch on the extension first, because when
Sure.
I joined it, when I initially joined, it was June 2024. It was during the summer session. But I was in the middle of finishing a health coaching program, and then I was going immediately into studying for the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaching cert. So I knew when I signed up, I wasn't even going to touch FDN until the new year. So if you look at when I signed up to when I graduated is like 15, 16 months. But when you look at from the moment I started it to the minute I graduated, that was about 8 months, like 8.5 months. And so I was hardcore in studying mode every day. So it's like every day I'd get off work and I'd study for at least 2 hours. And then of course it got intensively longer when I was like getting into practicals and what have you. So on average per week, I was probably spending anywhere from 10 to 15 hours a week.
Wow. Okay, great. And thanks for specifying that there was a difference between when you actually started versus that. And guys, we'll talk about this later in the month. Sometimes strategically from a sale perspective, because there probably was one, obviously, when you did it in the summer, it can be beneficial to buy during a sale, even knowing that you're going to have to do the extension. I mean, again, the extensions are so cheap compared to some of the stuff that we offer sale-wise, like for a Black Friday. It can make sense. So we'll talk about that later in the month to see if that applies to you guys. Gina, what about you, my friend? How long did it take you to get through the course, and roughly how much time are you spending per week doing this?
Yes, we all have unique stories. So I started my program, it was about a year. For the first 3 months, I was studying. I was spending about 6 to 8 hours a week. There are videos. There's different types. I don't know if we're going to cover them, but there's weekly hot topics. There's supplement squad calls. There's a Friday call. So there's different calls that we have. So watching the replays, I would do that because some of the replays match with where I was studying, but depending on which module I was in. So I spent the first 3 months in the course for like, let's say 6 to 8 hours studying weekly, and about another 2 hours or even 3 hours of video replay. So we could say upwards of as low as 6 to as high as 12 hours a week. But I do have a full-time job. So after those 3 months, I took 1 month off and I just let it all soak in. I'd have some maybe video replays, but I didn't really necessarily study because I had things I had to get done. Then I took another 3 months and I jumped right back into the same routine, picking up where I left off. Then I took 1 month off. Then, and I don't mean 1 month like I just went out and forgot all about it. I still had things, just lightly in the background of watching, maybe if I was working out, listening in on a replay. Then I took the last 4 months. So that was 6 months total of coursework. And then 2 months off was eight months. And then the last 4 months of the last 4 months, the first one I did, I really intensified and said, that's it, I'm studying really hard, going back to review everything I can, and mapped out all my practicals and made sure that my life schedule matched it. So I was hoping no crazy emergencies appeared, which was lucky for me, it didn't happen, but still mapped them all out so I could do the practicals, the clinicals, go through it all and make sure I can reach the 1 year deadline of that. So within a year.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, Kim, you are up next. So, and I feel like you graduated a while ago with me. So, if the best of your memory, how long did it take you to go through the course, and roughly how much time are you spending each week on it?
Right. So I was trying to count the months. It took me 8 months to graduate. And actually, FDN had changed labs in the middle. So I kind of threw out my old labs and just reviewed the notes because they gave us information on the new labs as well. So it varied how much time I was taking depending on my life, really. Sometimes 10 hours, sometimes 5 hours, and really, like it was mentioned before, the practicals. I mean, that was all day, and it makes you really nervous because you don't really know what to expect, like something like this. but rest assured that the mentors that you talk to really want you to succeed. So it's kind of nerve-wracking to prepare, all your different scenarios that they're asking you to prepare, and the written exam that took a while, but I did that over, the course of a month. But when you speak to the mentors, they do want you to succeed. Everyone at FDN wants you to be an awesome FDN. So that's key.
I'll put this third one up here just while we kind of go through that, because I did want to address this. So the course mentors, for those that don't have the context of this yet, maybe you're just joining us. You're like, wait, what, a course mentor? I heard about clinical advisors earlier with Kelsey, but what about the course mentor? So if clinical advisors are for graduates, course mentors are for trainees. And so they are people that you are actually required to work with. It is part of your curriculum here at FDN. Remember I said earlier, because everyone put a 1 in the chat, so I'm assuming everyone was on earlier. So we talked about how you actually get lab tests included in the cost of tuition. So your first things and sessions that you'll do with your mentor is actually going over your own lab test results, which I don't know if it was structured this way, but I think it's kind of brilliant, because we do know that if our dopamine is higher, we're more likely to retain the information. And let's be honest, there is nothing more interesting, and there's nothing we have more anticipation around, which is what gets that's when dopamine gets released, is it's very anticipatory, than our own lab results. So there's kind of nothing better than trying to solidify all this information with your own lab results in the beginning. A lot of it starts to click, but then you'll do these practical exams where you have mock clients. So we really train you up for that. Now, with all that said, you're going to be next for this one too. I would like to talk now about what was something surprising about the FDN course once you got into it, ideally something positively surprising. So what I mean by this is we all go into these programs and courses ideally expecting something. And if we're willing to invest the money in it, we already thought what we expected was worth it. Now, one of the things that we're trying to do as staff members here is we always want to make sure that when people come and spend the money with us and invest this, that they're actually getting more than they would have paid for. And so I'd like to know what something positively surprising was for you all. I'll give you another second here too. Like for me, I went through this again 9.5 years ago. One of the things that maybe it's more obvious now, but guys, we did not have any of the marketing stuff now or back then that we do now. There was no trainee group. There was no graduate group. None of that existed. And so for me, I don't think I realized how rigorous of a curriculum I was getting into. And that was a very positive surprise for me. I had went through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition just right before I did FDN. I liked IIN, by the way. That, especially at 20, 21 years old, that gave me a good springboard to understand a lot of different dietary theory. It also helped me with the coaching side. But I did not feel, especially at that age, that I was now equipped to go out into my town and be like, all right, I'm going to charge a few $1,000s for a 6-month coaching program. I didn't feel equipped for that. So I loved the rigor of the program because I realized I was actually learning something. I was learning something useful that would be worth money to someone else because I could actually help them. So just an example, someone might overlap with that, but that's something that was positively surprising for me. So Kim, we'll go back to you again. What's something that was positively surprising for you when you went through the FDN course? Something that you weren't expecting maybe?
Right. I think I'm going to overlap you here, but I would like to reiterate that the labs included in the course, that's an amazing value. That's thousands of dollars invested in you learning about your own health so that you can see how you can help someone else with their own health. Even it doesn't matter how healthy you are coming into the course. There is always stuff to learn. And so that was awesome. That was a good surprise. The fact that Reed can teach in a kind of, I mean, he'll throw in comedy in there and stuff, but it's really, really deep science, and it's not hard to understand because of the way he just so casually talks about it, like you're in a conversation about this deep science matter. So it's really easy to learn. And then following that, the community of FDN and how I've made friends and how people support you and they encourage you throughout the course. And then after for years, we have a group where you can ask a colleague something and you'll get a bunch of answers and it'll help you understand more what you need to know. So.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Gina. So what was something positively surprising for you when you went through the course? Maybe something you weren't expecting?
Yes, I was jotting down notes. I have too many. I second what she said too. It really is. The R&R was incredible. I couldn't believe going through the results and recommendations, thinking, "Wow, it's they're telling me things I need to know. Wait, I'm going to be doing this too." Realizing like, "Whoa, I'm about to flip. I'll be able to switch on the other side." There was that. The asynchronous, the way that we could start and stop wherever we wanted to, if life was able to get started. Where some courses, if you miss a week or 2 weeks because something else happened, well, you're way behind and you're catching up. The community, and it's not. I don't even know how to say community. It's not just the community. Everyone is in. Where when you become a trainee in the FDN program, you don't realize how you're just supported by so many people and everyone has the same mission. We're all working towards that same goal. And everyone that did work towards that same goal, they're still cheering you on as well. Even today, I graduated the 30th of September. I'm in a special chat. I still have the same chat with the same group of people that we all helped each other as we were studying. When we saw each other last month at HICS, the Health Intelligence Exchange, that conference, we hugged, took pictures, made T-shirts for each other. We were like, oh my gosh, we're such a tight knit group. The tools for success, I can't speak of that enough. There is really no way you could fail. FDN has thought of, for adult learners, there's various different ways you can learn. You can print slides, you can attend videos, replays, you can ask questions in the group. The extended mentoring, I had mentioned to some others too, that I not just said, thank you for doing my my results and recommendations, excuse me to use acronyms, but to say that we're going to go over the labs. But I thought that was pretty nice what that mentor said. I wonder what the other one said. I wonder what that one said. So every time I would go over a new test result, I thought, let me make sure I go through this with a different mentor. Now, did they all say the same thing? No, they didn't. Was it confusing? No. But it was so wonderful to have a different perspective because they did explain what we learned, true, but the perspective they brought was so refreshing. So it wasn't like a cookie cutter. You're just going to learn this cookie cutter approach. That wasn't it. I can't pick one. Go ahead and move on, but I could keep going on and on about all the different amazing tools that we were given to success for succeeding.
Well, that's a good problem to have. I like it, Gina. Patricia, what about you? What was something positively surprising when you went through the course? Something that maybe you weren't expecting?
Well, I was also going to mention the community. Like Gina had mentioned, I'm in that same thread that she's in, and we're all still there supporting each other. So this started back when we were all trainees, right? And the amount of support that we got in the trainee study group, the amount of support that you get from the mentors. And then, of course, just like Gina had mentioned, like hearing the different thought processes behind things, because there isn't just one way to go about doing something. But most importantly, I think for me, I had mentioned that I got into this because of my own health journey. It was the aha moment of like simplifying things to help me better understand what was going on in my body so that I can better explain it to other people. So
Awesome.
simply put, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. I like that both you mentioned the community, because I think I could say that a million times and people don't necessarily understand like how insane this is. When we were just at HICS, that conference, guys, back in October, I am so fortunate because I've been doing the podcast since I was here, but I only recently moved into a whole new role with PR and partnerships. And so Reed's like, cool, like you want to host things and get things together, go ahead, have at it. Not only did we get 80 FDNs together, Reed hosts these people at his house. He's like, bring them to my house. And at first it was supposed to be 30. And I'm like, oh, Reed, that's going to be, we have way more than that. He's like, oh, screw it then. I'm like, well, how many more can we have? He's like, doesn't matter. Just invite everyone. I'm like, okay. So like the fact that we can do that, and maybe that won't work when we have 200,000 graduates like IIN or something. Like there is a real thing that happens at scale. I get that. But to be able to be in a place right now where the founder will still hang out with you at his house and cook you up a steak, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. So the community is very tight knit, and there's a real chance still, if you haven't been a part of this yet, to come in and stand out. Just being a regular on these events. I'm thinking of Deborah T and Russ. They just have been on events for the last 6 months nonstop. And now I feel like I know Deborah T and Russ as well as anyone that I've known for years here. So it's still easy to stand out here and definitely become a part of this. So Ivana, I don't want to miss you here. Let's ask you the same thing. What was something positively surprising to you about the course, something that maybe you were not expecting?
So I did not expect that it's going to be so holistic and so interconnecting, brain and heart and gut and mind and soul and body, soul, spirit, or in whatever kind of aspects or philosophical aspects you want to think about this, it really is. And it's very surprising in a sense that you discover this going through this whole course. I just wrote these little things on my phone when people were talking because, I can have probably, 12 different points, but I have only like 5. The depth of every topic and then exploration around it and then support around it is phenomenal. You will never be like stuck on anything because you have access to ask questions in groups or live or however you choose. The authenticity of people, that we meet different personalities and how they are working all this knowledge through their life experience and how they really processing this and reflecting on it. It's very warming and very it builds this culture, I would say, of respect and honor, that we can really learn from each other, rely on each other, and not put anybody down or think my way or highway or there's no like BS. Sorry, can I say that? Like there's like
You just did, so
reality.
you're all good, Ivana.
It's reality, and this authenticity and building this community around this respect and really listening deeply and learning from each other continues further, which I appreciate greatly. And then just support before, during, and after. It's amazing what all the mentors and people who are working on it, the whole staff, how much of themselves, their time, knowledge, expertise they are giving to us. It's unheard of. And last, I would say that I think it's a very unique group of people that we come from all over. We can have so different maybe faiths or philosophies or political views or whatever, and we still feel like we are united on this front of let's get people better. This is amazing, very unique to FDN, and I am like, just everyone should sign up because there's nothing like this.
Ivana, thanks for saying that, because I normally don't bring that up myself, but I will emphasize that since you said it. Guys, it's almost impossible now, and it's so sad, but it's almost impossible now to get into a group, and no one's talking about that stuff in the group, but you end up adding each other on Facebook, right, or Instagram, and you find out what people's beliefs are. It's not even a close second. This is the most diverse group that I am a part of in my life, is FDN. And we have people on staff, some people very liberal, some people very conservative. It doesn't matter. No one cares. Some people are atheists. Some people are hardcore Christians. No one cares. What we care about is that we know what it's like to go through hell with your health. We are on a mission to help other people with that. And I almost wish, Ivana, that we could take that and somehow expand it to the rest of the world, because it's so funny. I think one of the reasons that we do have such a diversity of people here is because when you're all working on these health issues and trying to help other people, we all understand that just because we have different beliefs doesn't mean that we're not still good humans trying to do the right thing. And I think when we're on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, we forget that the people that we disagree with are also probably, normally, most of the time, good people trying to do the right thing. But here it's so obvious, it's so in your face that you can never hate another person for a different belief system, because they're literally one of the best people that you've ever met. So yeah. I've had my beliefs really challenged here in a positive way. I've loved adding everyone on Facebook and Instagram and getting to hear from them. So thanks for bringing that up. If you're someone that is tired of every little different opinion that you share that gets shot down, or you feel like someone's going to hate you, you will experience the opposite here. We keep it very diverse, very fun. Here's number 4. Let's get into some real stuff here. And when I say real, I just mean that I told you guys we weren't going to script this. And the ladies probably so far are like, well, why the heck couldn't we have scripted the things that we talked about so far, Ev? It's because I want you guys to be able to give real answers here. No course is perfect, as I already mentioned today. And you know what? Quite frankly, I'm sorry, because I haven't seen this. No other course out there is going to go ask graduates this off the cuff. They're not going to ask these types of things. So I would like to know this. I want to know, it's a 2-part question, and I'll give you guys a second to think about it, because Ivana will go to you first. I want to know, who do you think is not a good fit for FDN? And I also want to know, where can we do better in the course? It can't be perfect. No course is. So where is something that you would like to see improvement so that people know that we're being authentic here and sharing both the good and the bad? I'll even answer this first just to give you a second to think. In terms of who's not a good fit for the course, if you are someone that cannot discipline yourself to sit down and learn, you are not a good fit for the course. The reality is, Gina, it's funny because you listed it off as like a positive. I agree with you that being able to go through the course whenever you want, that's a good thing. For some people, that is not a good thing. They need to be told, this is when this gets released. This is what you have to do each day and each week. And that helps them keep concentrated. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I think that there's different things in each area of our life where we need to do that with. I bring this up all the time. I like mixed martial arts. I think it's good that I know how to fight. I can't discipline myself to go 5 days a week to that. So I need a coach for it, because for that area of my life, I need to know that there's accountability. I need to know that someone's going to be showing up and counting on me, and not to mention having to pay them, right? So there's a few things there versus wearing blue light blocking glasses. I don't know why. That's easy for me. I can do that every single day. I've done it for the last 7-8 years. I don't think about it. I don't need to be incentivized. No one needs to coach me. FDN was that for me as well. I didn't need someone to hold my hand. I was able to do this and get through it. So who is not a good fit? Someone who's not a self-starter and needs a little bit more support with this area. That would be accurate. And then how can we improve the course? Well, I want to think about it from today's standard of the course and not 9.5 years ago. But even from today's standard, I would like if we started the one-on-one mentorship a little bit earlier. I would like if that started from maybe day one, like you get enrolled in the course and you get to talk to a mentor from day one so that you have a little bit more direct connection. I think that's how we can improve. And just by the way, I know I work on staff, so you guys are like, well, Ev, if you want that, why can't you do that? There's different divisions of the company, right? I can't just change things overnight. And that's a whole new set of staff members to be able to facilitate that. But I do think we could do better there in having a staff member be able to do that in the beginning. So Ivana, hopefully that was enough time. I'd like to know who you think is not a good fit for FDN, and then what's one place that we could improve the course because it's not perfect.
Anyone who wants to just swing it and have a badge on the web page and just, flag it over everybody else, this is not for them. This is not for people who think that they can do it in 1 or 2 months. Doesn't matter your even medical background or prep. I mean, I was trained as a nurse, and for me, this was a very different view, which I already had a little bit when my previous course that I was taking, but still it was very refreshing, renewing, and just, the totality of it takes you to a very different level. You have to kind of change your mindset. So you have to be flexible, teachable, very open from your previous maybe mindsets of how it's going to be. I think the accountability issue is important. So you have to keep yourself sort of kind of on some kind of a pace. So the goal, to reach certain goal, you have to have this in mind. And then what did I say? You need to know how to keep some boundaries during this time. So this has to be one of your priorities. Like you cannot just say, I'm just going to do it when I'm instead of binging Netflix, I'm just going to watch some stuff. No, man, you have to employ your brain into this and put your heart. And I would also say that anybody who does not really have a heart to help people in the future, with personal boundaries, well established and understood, how are they going to kind of perceive this in the future within their framework and experience, of course. You have to be authentic and you have to want to help people. It's not business per se, although business part is very important in this, and they also can help you with the business part. There is a business school, and it's great, and you have a lot of people helping you on this part. But this openness to continual learning. This is not one-time done deal. Whatever you're going to learn, you'll be pulled in different directions, and you have to understand that this is going to go farther and farther and farther. So you're going to extend yourself, and you should love it.
Thank you, Ivana. I do see some questions in the chat. I promise I'll get to some of them after these ladies are done answering. We also have Jenna with us. And I had not called on her yet because it's been like 40 minutes and no one had asked things that I think she could answer. But Jenna might be able to help with some of those. So if you see her name, that is why she's there. She's on staff here. All right, Patricia, how about you? Who do you think, and there might be some overlap with these answers, all fine, of course, but who is not a good fit for FDN? And then what's one area that we can improve in the course?
Yeah. So someone who is not a self-starter, like you need to be able to keep yourself on track, even if it's just a couple hours a day. So if that's not something that you're strong in, still give it a shot, I guess, but you really have to be disciplined. I do think that it's also important, some areas for improvement that I just wanted to touch on real quick is that I agree with you that it would be amazing if FDN could hire a bunch more mentors. And from the minute someone signs on, they have someone holding their hand. I know that there's that onboarding call, but if you're like me, you missed it. And then you felt very lost when you finally got into it because you didn't know that there were ongoing onboarding calls because I didn't read the emails. So read the emails if you sign up. Just there's a lot of emails that go out with a lot of information. Definitely read them. But it would be helpful to have someone maybe when someone signs up, just more one-on-one attention. And then I know that we're getting ready to roll it out, but like more like for on the graduate side, like, okay, now you're graduated. Now what? Like, I know there's the business school that I'm getting through and what have you. But I heard, today in one of the calls, the graduate calls, that there's an update to module 15 coming, which is great. So I'm very excited for that. But that's my 2 cents on what can be improved upon. Overall, I think that FDN does a really good job. There is a lot of email communication that comes out, which is great, but a little bit more one-on-one communication might be helpful.
Fair enough. All right, Gina, I know that you are a ball of positivity, but you got to give us something here. So who is not a good fit for FDN? And then truly, what is one area that you think we can improve on?
Yes, I mean, ditto to what Ivana said and Patricia. So if you're not a self-starter, FDN is not for you. If you don't like working with people, FDN is not for you. If you genuinely do not like helping people and have a big heart, again, with setting boundaries, don't just work for free. But again, FDN is not for you. One thing that can be improved, and I did see it moderately improved, but when I first began, we have the results and recommendation, which is a session where once you submit all the labs, you'll then spend that 1 hour or 90 minutes, with the mentor, and you'll spend that time with them. You'll also spend time with the mentor as you go through your practicals and clinicals. However, I thought, wouldn't it be great to have more time with the mentors? So I personally purchased them. I purchased 8 additional hours with the mentors.
Wow.
So all over the world, from Australia, all over the world, I've met with mentors. I just wanted to know a broad breadth of what do other people have to say about whatever it is. And I didn't do it as she said this and he said that. No, I didn't tell anybody that. But I just took that, again, fresh perspective. We met for a practical and you said this. Could we go on and talk about that some more? Or we were talking about this in the supplement squad. Tell me some more. So I did notice that FDN has changed, or I should say improved the program since I started. And there are more mentor sessions available when you join than when I was. They were not really, you can still buy them, I guess, if you join today, but there's more mentor sessions embedded into the program for the new people that join, which again, I did that on my own, but so yes, trying not to be too positive. That was what I would improve, but you guys did kind of improve it.
I was about to say it was still somehow mostly a compliment. So thank you, Gina. But and that's actually cool. I want to look up the stats of that. You might hold the record. That I don't know if anyone's ever bought that many additional mentors.
Yeah, they couldn't believe it. They
cool.
couldn't believe it. They're like, you did 8, and I said I paid for every one of them. Yes, but at the same time, I think the price is the same. It was $99 to meet 1 hour with them. 1 hour, 99. I was like, you're going to talk about whatever I want. Ready? Here's all the questions. We're only talking about this. Let's go. I got 1 hour. And if they took off and they derailed, I'd bring them back. No, this is all we're talking about. This is my hour. I'm paying for you. This is the hot topic with Gina.
Hot topic with Gina, baby. I can't argue that. So that's fun.
Ask them, because I've been through a bunch of them. But anyways, yes, it was fun. Tons of fun.
Thank you, Gina. Kim, who is not a good fit for FDN? And then where can we improve the course? Again, I know that you probably are like me, where we went through a few years ago, so it's a little bit different now. But still, I'd like to know what you were thinking about back then, even and where we could improve it.
Okay. I'll reiterate, someone who's not a self-starter, this is not for you. Someone who doesn't want to learn about health and how to improve it in multiple facets, not for you. If you don't like reading labs, not for you. If you if you're more influenced by the person on the other end of the camera than, within your own body, not for you, because you have to take on a leadership role and you have to mentor these people that sign up with you. Whether you work for another company as an FDN or whether you're an entrepreneur, you cannot take on the energy of the people you're working with. You have to have these boundaries in place. You have to have confidence that comes from within you. So if you are not that person, it is not a good fit for you. I did not have a lot of mentorship during my time. So what I've heard, FDN has improved the course a lot. I will say every time they put out a new module, we have access to that. You're not charged for that. That's great. So as new information is coming in, and again, if you're not a self-starter, you won't do it. But if you are a self-starter and they say, "Hey, we put out new information," you're gonna get into that. You're gonna learn it. One thing that I would have preferred is results and recommendations with the same person. I love that, Gina, that you paid for multiple sessions. I did not love my results and recommendations with my person. I've met other mentors since then that I would have probably preferred to hear that from. So if I had, one session with one and another session with the other one, because it was a two-part, I don't know if it still is, it was a two-part session, I would not choose that person to be my results recommendations person.
Gotcha. Fair enough. All right, a couple things I wanted to address too. We'll have two more questions for the ladies here. So just to kind of bring this all together, one of the things that we do at FDN that is another, as from my understanding, is unique to our program. It's actually kind of insane when you understand how many reads done. Every single person that graduates gets something called a PGI, which is a post-grad interview. Reed did the first 2,000 post-grad interviews by himself. He is 72 years old and still takes some of them to this day. But we have had to outsource some of it, obviously. But you never get some random person. It's like our COO, our executive director of our graduate group. It's Reed, our chief production officer. These are the people that you get. And so that post-grad interview is dedicated to figuring out, okay, what are you going to do next? But also, how can we do better? And so if I'm just making up a number, right? If you had 100 PGIs in a month, what we then look at as a company is we say, is there any common themes that are coming up here? So when these ladies are saying, hey, it seems like that was improved, it's like, well, yes, that was probably a big thing that people were talking about. So if only one person out of 100 says one thing, that might not be top priority. But if we find 25 out of those 100 said the exact same thing, cool, we're going to go attack that as a team, make it better. Another thing I wanted to address really quick, it was a question from the audience, and a fair one. Do you get, lifetime access to the course? Another unique thing about FDN. And this is actually, it's so insane that other places do this. I will not mention names. I don't want people to mention names in the chat. We're not trying to start crap with other companies. It is insane, though, that there are places that charge you multiple thousands of dollars for your course, and then they take it away after a year. I think that's nuts. Apparently, so does Reed Davis, the founder of FDN. Not only do we not take away your course, we do something a little bit different. You actually get permanent access to all of the updates. I'll say it again. So you get access to all of the updates. So this course is constantly being revised, newer science is added, or if new science comes out, right, we're adjusting for that. New modules, as I think it was Gina who mentioned the module 15, or Patricia, I'm sorry, had mentioned the module 15 getting updated. That's what we're working on all the time. So you do not need to keep paying FDN thousands of dollars to get that. Someone asked, how was this course different 9 years ago when I went through? My friend, there was no trainee group. That didn't exist. No trainee group. So you didn't talk to anyone when you went through the course other than your mentor like 5 or 6 times. There was no graduate group. And so it was like the Wild West. Like if you were not a self-starter back then, you were screwed. Like it was you against you to finish this course at the time. And sometimes I think there's pros and cons to it because I love the trainee group, to be clear. I think it's an amazing part of the community at FDN. But as you guys know, in the trainee group, a lot of people say, oh, I'm scared of my practicals or all this stuff. I was too naive to be scared because I didn't talk to anyone else. I didn't know I was supposed to be scared for the practical. So I was like, all right, yeah, I'll go do this and talk about advanced lab testing as a 21-year-old kid. Didn't think twice about it for the most part because I didn't hear anyone else saying that they were scared. So there's pros and cons to it. There's significantly more pros. Also, you've heard us mention this now. Elizabeth's famous hot topics. So Elizabeth Gaines is our education director. You guys will hear from her tomorrow. Remember, we have 3 weeks of events here. You'll hear from her tomorrow. She's fantastic. She's like Reed's right-hand woman in terms of all things education. So once a week on Wednesdays, she goes live and just dives deep into a topic, and she has a different teaching style. She has different analogies. And so for some people, even though they really like Reed's teaching style, a lot of people said that in the chat, she just teaches it different. And for some people, that resonates more to be able to spend more time on a specific topic. What's so funny, I have no idea how this could be genetic, but apparently it is. Elizabeth went to college for like arts, something in that area, but both of her parents were professors. And so she ended up as education director of FDN without any formal training in actual teaching or being a professor, but somehow that ended up being her role here. So really cool. That's optional. You do not need to attend those at all to graduate, but now most people do choose to have that as a part of their curriculum. All right, 2 more questions for you. One I'm actually pulling from the audience. I think this was a great one, and I'm not saying that any one in particular is not great, but there are some that I think are very important for people to know. So here's one that's fun and tough. How long has it taken to earn as much as you spent on the program if you have? So I think what this person's asking is like, from the day that you graduated, how long did it take to make your investment back? And from my understanding, all of you ladies, you do have your own business. Maybe you're not pursuing it 70 hours a week or something crazy, but you have taken clients and attempted to make the income back. So, and I only say that because, guys, just so you know, some people go through just for their family. They're not trying to earn income or even have clients. I think all of these ladies have. So Kim, how long roughly did it take you to get your investment back in the form of clients or jobs that you had as a result of being an FDN?
I think it took maybe a month and a half, 2 months.
Not bad.
And but as you get more experience with working with clients and they refer their friends and you kind of put yourself out there and tell people what you're doing. I'm what are we on the ninth, 10th day of the month? And I've made $6,000. So if you put yourself out there, you can make it pretty quickly because people get curious when you're talking about what you're doing. When you're talking about things that interest you, people keep you in mind for when they're feeling whatever you helped other people or their friends overcome, right? Because we're all looking for that one thing, right? And it's not the pill, and it's someone that's dedicated to spending time with you months, if it a year or 2 years if you need it, right? Being seen and being heard. So as long as you're putting yourself out there, it's like, I want to hear from you, I want to help you. It's pretty quick because your friends and family call you and, are you graduated yet? Like, what's going on? So, yeah.
Well, yeah, and good point. How fast one can do it if that's their sole goal versus how long does it take on average, 2 completely different questions. Because these ladies know I'm a broken record with it, and we will talk about it this month. If you are willing to go out and give public talks, I have literally seen people get the entire investment back within 2 weeks. And we teach you how to do the talk. So it does depend on how much one's willing to do as well. But still, there's probably going to be a diversity of answers here, I would imagine. So Gina, and I'm sorry, Gina, because I know that you have multiple things that you do. Obviously, you work with the Navy SEALs. So I don't know how much time you're directly spending trying to get clients. So it would be nice if you mentioned that just so there's context here. How long did it take you to get your investment back from the course?
So I just graduated September 30th. So it's only been about a month and a half, not quite a month and 9 days.
Graduated September 30th?
September 30th, yes.
I feel like I've known you for a year. See, this is where you guys trick me. I feel like I've known you for a year. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, well, of course, because I've been in the program for a year. I've been in the program for a year.
Only a little bit of time for Gina then, but yes, please.
So it is unique, though, because I have partnered with a health coach who is unable to order labs, who's unable to does the health coaching part, which is not what FDN does. FDN doesn't sit there and teach you how to be a health coach. So, I mean, we do talk about that. We talk about it, but it's not like that's what we're going forward to do. So this health coach who's unable to purchase labs, we've partnered together where I do the lab ordering, I meet and do the results and recommendations. We talk about the protocol, and then they go back to their health coach, and the health coach is the one that is executing the plan. So, which is kind of nice. There's also a second place where I generate income as well. And I normally don't speak of the name of this individual who has over 1 million followers on Instagram, but there is a functional medicine doctor that I support. There's a private membership group with about 5,000 members in there. So I'm in the community there at making sure we answer questions. You can't order labs, and we can meet one-on-one with those members as well. But answering questions, making sure they understand different things about their health. So I do that as well. So, I mean, I have every Friday off. I can meet with the clients with the health coach. And then I have the weekends where I have a couple hours where I can, free hours. I'm just sitting there just typing away. I know this answer. I can help you with that. Oh, really? Good. Okay. Let's talk about what possibly things you could be doing to improve or help yourself. So there is not quite 100% back I've made like to this minute, this date, but I've made a good portion of it back already.
And a month and a half. That's really good. Gina, man, we got to get you on YouTube more, man. You just you're so good at these cliffhangers. I don't even know if you're trying to do it. You're like, Navy SEALs can't tell you though, 1 million follower person, but it's kind of top secret. I'm like, this woman's like CIA. Like, what's going on here? So thank you. Yeah, month and a half and pretty close. I think that's darn good, especially since you do have multiple things going on. I cannot believe, I thought, yeah,
it's possible with FDN. Honestly, the sky is the limit with FDN. Only you can limit yourself.
Yeah, fair enough. Patricia, how about you? Again, I know Patricia and Ivana are relatively newer, but Patricia, what about you, my friend?
Yeah, so I actually haven't started seeing clients yet, just for the simple fact that I'm still getting the business aspect together. Mm-hmm. But I have 6 people in line waiting for me to get my business license. So I will be making my money back hopefully by the end of the year.
Nice job, Patricia. And Ivana, I know that you're in a really unique situation because you were taking on, I know that you had a bunch of clients, but you were taking on some at a discount. You were taking on some because they helped you with the course. So I'd love to know what your situation is.
Yep. So because I was scaredy cat and I totally had very self-worth after all of this, and I had really, bad mindset and everything. And then they told me, you should triple the price. You're crazy. And I'm like, I was so scared. So I decided, okay, well, first of all, I wanted to offer this to those people who were supporting me, but only 3 of those said, yeah, we want to do it. And the other ones are like, it's okay. We don't have to, join your program this time. So I ended up with I do run hybrid, which is group and 101, which is a lot of work, but I'm learning a lot in this. I am in the middle of this. I am in this past 6 weeks. I think I'm going to make about 75% after finishing this turn, and then make, equivalent to the next batch of people. I guess I can say that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's it, I guess.
Very nice. All right, cool. So you guys can see different amounts here. It's not like anyone's not getting it, right? And again, I haven't heard one person talk about the talk. So if you are able to do that, that's fantastic. Now, what I'm going to do here, because we are at the hour and I don't want to steal any more of these ladies' time, I have it's not a rapid fire question. I shouldn't say that, but it's a single answer question. And if I'm being honest with you guys, this is the one reason I really didn't script this, because I think we're in, and I've heard this said before on social media, I think we're in a trust recession. A trust recession. And what that means is that there's so many people online, and a lot of them are great, and a lot of them are not so great. And both parties are still trying to sell you something, though, right? There's a lot of amazing people that are trying to sell something, and there's a lot of not so amazing people that are trying to sell something. So if you guys don't end up buying FDN because it's not the right time, you don't like labs for whatever reason, right? Even though everyone here loves labs, whatever it might be, that's fine. What is not okay to me personally, and what I look at as my job every single day, is we cannot have someone not buy FDN solely because they don't trust FDN. We have failed them if that's the reason. If any of the other reasons, that's fine. That's personal preference. But if it's because, this is just like any other thing, that's not acceptable to me. So that's why we don't script the questions. I want you to, because you can read people's body language and you can tell if they're telling the truth. And ladies, I will always ask you to tell the truth for this last question here. So if someone is investing in this program. Remember, we had a price increase in April because we had a bunch of updates come to the course. So by the way, guys, that lifetime access thing, the reason that that's good is because the price goes up over time. The price of the course right now is almost double what it was 9 years ago. So we have the biggest sale ever, which is nice. It's $2,000 off the course, but still, even paying in full, you're talking $9,400, 10,000 plus with payment plan. For the right person like me, I want to say this correctly. I don't, because I know I'm younger and I don't mean this to impress you. I mean this to impress upon you. This has helped me make closer to 7 figures than not so far, and it's going to be a lot more than that in my 30s with how everything's set up. My wife, it took her from making $3,000 a month to $25,000 a month. So there's a lot of things that can be done with this if you want to do it that way. So for us, it was worth significantly more. But ladies, I'd like to ask you, and Ivana will ask you first, truly, do you believe the course and community was worth notably more than you paid for it? So I don't mean that you spent 10 or 8 or 9 grand or whatever it was, and you're like, oh yeah, it was worth about that. To us, it's only worth it to sell people on this if they believed it was worth notably more than that. For me getting my health back, for my mom's life being saved, didn't even get to talk to them about that this week. My wife having what she has now, yeah, that's notably worth it for me personally. So I could say yes to that. Ivana, would you say yes or no to this?
Absolutely, yes.
Awesome. Patricia, what about you?
Without a doubt, yes.
Gina?
I actually would have paid double.
Oh, nice. Oh, careful.
The course was so inexpensive. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
I love Gina's. She's fine. Mentorship sessions, whatever. This is great. We need a bunch of Ginas. Kim, what about you, my friend?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And we can give a unanimous answer to this one. You guys can all just say it at the same time because you will tell by their facial expressions of a little annoyance with their buddy Ev over here that I did not do this. Did I script you guys on any of these questions or prompt them to you before we start?
No, you did not.
All right, you guys rock. If we could get a thank you for these ladies in the chat. They don't get anything for this. This is like the amazing people that we have. We literally have people that are willing to volunteer on a random weekday at rush hour. Hey, I'll come on just so other people can get to know about this course. So if we could drop a thank you for them, that's great. Ladies, this is up to you because I already am 4 minutes past the hour. I want to go back in and answer some of the questions personally in the chat. If you'd like to hang out, I mean, you're more than welcome. I'm not necessarily going to throw you any more questions. I don't want to do that. But if you want to hang out, you're fine. I'm just going to stay on for a few extra minutes, but you are more than welcome to head out whenever you'd like. If you guys have Instagrams or Facebooks that you'd like people to connect with, please take the time to drop that in the chat. And then I encourage everyone that's in the chat to just go give them a follow or say hello or whatever. So please, at the very least, do that and then decide what you guys want to do. All right, I'm going to keep going through some of the questions here while they either head out or drop the social below. But seriously, we appreciate you guys being here. How much is the course? So with the Black Friday thing, let me pull this up for you. And I believe, Jenna, I'm sorry to keep you on as well, but we won't be too long here. I will go to the link here to show you guys the different options. Give me one moment, please. All right, and I promise I'll get through some of the questions from before that didn't. Okay, here we go. Awesome. All right, I'm going to share my screen for you all. Okay, so this is specifically for Black Friday. Black Friday for us started today. So the beginning of this event, it started today. The sale is good November 10th through December 1st, which is another cool thing. We've only ever done this for like 3 or 4 days. So not only is it the biggest sale we've ever done, but we're doing it for pretty much the whole month. So if you are to pay in full, the $2,000 off takes it down to $9,497. If you're wondering, hey, Ev, that looks like more than $2,000 off. That's because there's always a slight discount for paying in full. That's why it looks that way. And you're seeing a $3,500 discount instead of just $2,000. It's not a gimmick. It usually always is a little bit off for paying in full. We do have $2,000 additional for this month. For the 12-month payment plan, these are all in-house with us, by the way. So this is not third-party credit check. We offer that if you'd like to do it for whatever reason, but these are all in-house, no credit check, not on some loan agreement like a car payment or something like that. 12-month payment plan goes down to $966 per month for 12 months. And for the 24-month payment plan, you can start as low as $508 per month. It depends on where you're at in life and what you're trying to do. Strategically, though, I got to be honest, even though you're going to pay more over time for the 508, it can be smart depending on what you're working with right now. Because someone asked, what's the record for getting through the course? I love that you asked it because I didn't ask it. So I get a little bit of a humble brag for a second. So I did hold the record at one point. And it was cool because I was also the youngest person at the time to go through FDN. So I went through in just about a month and 3/4, 2 months. Now, this was 9 years ago. There is substantially more stuff in the course now than there was then. So the record for this standard of the course is, I think, 3.5, 4 months. And you are really putting time in, guys, if you're doing 3.5, 4 months. Like I don't know if you were just asking for fun or whatever. That's a totally fine question. I wouldn't necessarily set that as your goal. Here is a rush goal. Like, hey, I'm putting in some extra effort, but I still have a life outside of this. 6 months, assuming nothing else goes wrong, nothing else comes up. 6 months is something that people can do if they want to put a little bit of a pedal to the metal. And this is why I'm mentioning this with the 24-month payment plan. I think Reed is very generous for this. I don't know if I would do this at my own company. Then again, I don't own a company that is this size. So maybe he knows something that I don't know. Possibly he does. I would say he knows probably a lot of things I don't know. So the reason I'm wording it this way is because, again, we don't have a third-party credit check. We give you everything up front. So if you were to graduate in 6 months, let's say, I mean, you do the math, 508 times 6 is 3,000, right? You have gotten over $1,300 worth of lab testing given to you. That's actually what it costs us. We give that to you in the course, so you will get that. You get, I think, approximately 10 to 12 mentorship sessions now. You get the support in the group. You obviously get the entire FDN course, and then you are graduated with a certification that allows you to go out the next day and work with clients at $3,000, $4,000 for your program. Some people charge way more than that, but in the beginning, I'd recommend staying around that $3,000 to $4,000 mark. So you can do that. And you can use that money that you're making then from the clients to help pay off the course. So that is a very legitimate strategy. I wouldn't shoot for 3.5 months. Don't try to break a record. But if you can put in some time to this every single week, yeah, 6 months is doable, man. 7 months is doable. And if you're on a 24-month payment plan, you've invested a lot less, but can still go use that to make the money back. Objectively speaking, the pay in full is the best deal if you are able to do it. Not only is it the biggest savings because you don't pay more over time, there's 2 things that you always get as a bonus for paying in full. By the way, these 2 here that I'm highlighting for you guys, this is true even when it's not Black Friday. I don't want you to think that we're using this as like a gimmick for Black Friday. This is always true right here, so you can always get this stuff. 2 bonuses. First one is you get a $500 advanced course credit for any of our advanced courses. That pays for most of them in full. I think there's, I want to say 18 for some reason, advanced courses. I would say like 13 or 14 of them are $500 or less. So you basically can get one for free. And you get that the second that you graduate. It's an automation in our email. So it sends it out to you the second that you graduate. And that is so that you don't go through it while you're doing the course because you're supposed to be doing only this course. Now, of course, we didn't have any panelists today that were doing multiple courses at one time while going through FDN, but we try to do what we can and save you from that. So we release it to you the second that you're done graduating. You also, someone mentioned about the lecture stuff, and do we teach that to trainees? I would love nothing more than to have trainees that are willing enough to go out and speak that I could come in and teach that side to it. That doesn't exist yet. So no, we only teach that on the graduate side. It's actually taught in the graduate group. So you technically don't even need to buy the lecture packages, although that gives you the slides and it's very nice. And it's certainly a nice benefit to have. We give you a credit for that as well. So if you pay in full, you get the biggest discount by far any time of year. And the 2 bonuses are a $500 advanced course credit and a $297 lecture package credit. I just got back to my screen and I see that no one has left me. So you guys are very nice. Thanks for not leaving me. I won't keep you forever. I thought you don't get to graduate until you've paid in full. No, Rachel, good question. You do not get your actual certification. So what that means is you're not able to go to like Rupa or these other places and use their lab ordering without us, but you can still use our medical director program just fine. So you can get all the labs, you just have to get them through us if you have not paid in full yet. Everything else is good to go. Don't worry about that. Guys, you're putting I'm so sorry. You're putting the social media in the private chat. Please feel free to put it in the actual chat, or maybe Jenna, if you could help them out a little bit, that'd be great. I want them to be able to see it in the real chat for you guys. How can we try the FDN course for free? Well, let me make sure this link works for you because I can show you a way to do it because you can try FDN for free. And it does work for you. Here you go, my friend. FDNtraining.com/ FDN/try FDN. That's how you can try it for free. Very very conveniently named, right? So there you go. And you can try the first module and stuff. I don't think it really does the course justice, but I think you can get a feel for Reed's teaching style. Maybe some of his infamous humor is in there as well. Which, thank God everyone here today loved it, because it's an acquired taste. Look at Russ, baby. Did it in 4.5 months. This is recent too. So Russ is recent. Graduated 2 months ago. That's with 25 to 30 hour study. Okay, Russ, I didn't realize you put in that much. That's impressive, man. Making this a full-time job. All right. I saw 100% satisfaction guarantee. What is the policy on this? Yes, good point. We never usually bring that up. Don't typically have to, but it's a fair question. So if within 30 days of starting, you do not like it, we will take, if you're on payment plans, whatever, we'll say, hey, you know what? No problem. It's not a full money back, just so you know, because when we enroll someone in the course, immediately there's labs involved, staff members ordering stuff. Now, we get fully charged for the labs once you run them, but there is a cost upfront to us. So it's 100% guarantee minus $250. We are not profiting off of that. It's literally to cover the cost that we actually spent on you so far just from you enrolling in FDN. The other thing is, it's not just 30 days. You cannot go through all the module in 30 days and then say you want your money back. That wouldn't be fair. Of course, I don't think you're even asking that. No one usually does. But just putting that out there to be clear. So I believe it's it might be the end of module 1 or the end of module 2. It's very clear in the course. It actually tells you that once you go past that, you cannot do that. So double check that with whoever you sign up with. But yes, you will get a satisfaction guarantee. We don't want anyone in the community who doesn't want to be here. So that's why we have that. It's not going to be fun for anyone. All right. Is coaching clients not a part of FDN? Great question, Sarah. I actually mentioned this off air to our ladies here as an example of something that, like, I wouldn't consider a good part for the course. No, coaching clients directly is not in FDN. Now, let's talk about the difference between coaching and consulting, because consulting is 100% in the course. You will know how to have a session with your client and what to do with them each session so that you can guide them through. But coaching is more what I learned in IIN. I consider that motivational interviewing, those types of skills, that is not directly taught in our course. It is actually in 2 of our advanced courses now. There's Mastering Client Transformation, and there's Coaching and Emotional Wellness Mastery, and that is with Lori Rose. She's a PhD that makes a lot of our advanced courses for us. So if you want to learn the coaching side and you don't care about going through some like major name brand program like IIN, you actually can learn the coaching side for us more in depth and at a fraction of the price. If you want to go through huge name brand for coaching, that's fine. That's up to you. No one has ever known what the heck I'm talking about when I say I'm an IIN other than other IINs, but that's besides the point. Okay. See what else I missed here. Just want to make sure we get to all of it. Do we have, okay, someone said, Patricia, actually, I will throw you into this again because you said business license. So what did you mean by that when you said that you're getting a business license? Because no, you absolutely do not need it for the lab results side.
No.
On different webinars. So what did you mean when you say you're getting a business license?
Just so I can legally run my business. It's like I set up an LLC to protect assets, and I'm getting the business license so I can technically be running a business. And but St. Louis is interesting with how they do it, so I have to go in person.
Okay, thank you. So that, all right, I was wondering, because I feel so ignorant because I know business pretty well. I'm like, wait, I don't have to do that. So that's because of where you're at. Certainly, everyone that is smart would have some type of LLC or whatever. Now, you can do a DBA, which is doing business as, and there's some unique things that come with that. But for those of you that want to get into the business side, welcome. It's fun. It's a personal development journey, just like health. No one can be on the other side of their health journey without becoming a different person. Same exact thing with business. That's why I like it. You cannot be the same person and have a multi-6-figure business you can't be the same person when you have a multi-6-figure business as you were when you started. Impossible. A different person, a different version of you is required for that, just like a different version of you is required to come over that autoimmunity, to beat that cancer, to beat the skin issues, to beat the gut issues. It's tough, but it's worth it. And so with that said, some of the things that you need to know are business oriented, and an LLC and those types of things help you protect your assets. So for those of you that are at different stages or ages of your life here, some of you might be well into your careers, and you might have been building up assets your whole life. Maybe you have a net worth of an XYZ amount. Well, the reason that you don't want to just do business as yourself is because if, gosh forbid, a crazy person sues you, this is true for any business, by the way, in-person businesses, businesses that have nothing to do with health. If some crazy person wants to sue you, or you did something wrong and they're not crazy at all, they can go after your personal assets then, versus if you have an LLC, right? That means that is a different set of assets and they can only go after that specifically. Now, that has not happened to an FDN, thank God, but just letting you know, this is how business works. Do we need to get insurance as an FDN? Well, you'd be very stupid to not have it. So good question. So yes, you should have it. We have different insurance providers that we recommend, not only in America, but in Canada and other places internationally. You have a list of them on our website. Don't have to go through us, but you can if you'd like to. And the upper end of those plans in terms of cost, you're talking $400 or $500 a year at the upper end. Some of them can be as low as $200 a year. And again, this is what the good news is about not doing stuff wrong. Your insurance is low. I had an in-person business at one point with my wife and partner, my business partner, separate people, that was only 1,000 square feet. And I will tell you this, insurance is not cheap, and it's a lot more than $500 a year. So letting you guys know that. If you have an office where people come to you, you most likely need a business license depending on where you live. Fair enough, Rachel. Thank you very much. There you go. Does it involve comprehensive training on everything in functional medicine or only the areas you are interested in? So I want to define a term here, and I'm not just playing with words. There really is a difference. When I hear functional medicine, mindful trading with Toyin, if that's how I pronounce your name. When I hear functional medicine, I think of medicine. Right. I feel like that's a doctor turned functional practitioner that is still prescribing and treating, but has a functional perspective. So I can't do that as an FDN. I can't prescribe you, an Ambien to help you sleep while I'm working on your other stuff functionally. I can't do that. So what we would fall into is that category of functional practitioners, which again is not a play on words. It's a different definition. If I can't prescribe and treat, I'm not practicing medicine. So what am I doing then? Am I just doing what a health coach does? Well, no, not necessarily. So a functional practitioner means that we have that advanced training where we can take some of the labs, we can read these things, make an assessment as to what's going on with the person. I'm not diagnosing you with something afterwards. In fact, most of the tests are not diagnostic in nature. Functional diagnostic nutrition is the name because the process of diagnostics is different than a diagnosis. For example, if I have someone, if you ever had something wrong with your car, like a check engine light comes on, you take it to the shop, the guys run that little scanner, they tell you the code. Well, that's diagnostic in nature. That's not necessarily a diagnosis. So, for example, what we're doing here at FDN, if I run a GI map with a client and a parasite comes back, I'm not diagnosing them with a parasite, but what I am able to do legally and ethically, thank God, is educate them on the fact that, hey, you have a chronic infection. You have chronic parasite infections in your gut here. These are the symptoms associated with it. More importantly, this is how it's associated with your symptoms that you presented to me. Here are some natural protocols. And similarly, this is not true with everything. It is true always with bacterial infections, parasitic infections, certain yeast infections. We actually provide you with a doctor's note as well, because I can treat a parasite with Western medicine, right? So we give those clients the ability to go treat that with Western medicine if they would like. We actually have the doctor's notes already set for them. But if they would like to be educated on how to address some of these things naturally and herbally, they have every right to do that and are able to self-treat through that process. So that's about as medicine as we would get. But generally speaking, we're not falling in that category. So it's kind of this cool, educational category. And let me see if we have anything else. I love these ladies. You guys have not left yet. You guys are very nice. I think we nailed all of it. Sorry if I missed anything else from before. Looks like we're good. Sweet. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate not only these ladies being on, but we appreciate everyone that was on in the audience. If we want to give a final thank you, that would be fantastic. And just because I don't think we actually ended up getting it into the main chat, can we just go around one more time and shout out where people can find us on social so that they can connect with you if they'd like to, because they all followed Kelsey earlier. So I'd love for them to be able to follow you. Kim, we'll start with you. What is your handle on Instagram or wherever you'd like to shout out?
Well, my company is called Lux, Lux Health Style. I like people to either go to my website, you can chat with me. I am the bot that answers the chat. And you can follow me on Facebook under my name. I share a lot of information there. Instagram, I haven't been as active lately, but you can check out my old stuff. Everything's under Lux Health Style.
Gina, where can we find your very secretive life?
It is a secret, Ev.
Okay, fair enough. Gosh, you're getting me. I'm such a sucker, man, for a mystery. Like I'm just like I want to go grab coffee with Gina now even more than I already did, just to figure this out, see if I can get it out of you. All right, Patricia, where can they find you?
Life cycle healing. That's
Like,
on Instagram, Life Cycle Healing, and then my website is going to hopefully be going live in a couple weeks.
awesome. And Ivana, last but certainly not least, what is the place that they can find you?
Well, the Instagram is my basically my name put together, but I don't like Instagram too much. I know everybody in the health spaces go there. I'm more on Facebook, I guess. And this is also my name. And if you go there, you're going to find all the other links that are there to websites and everything that I do.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow. We have 2 sessions. We'll actually get to introduce you to our education director. That's going to be at 3:30 Eastern. 3:30 Eastern tomorrow. Education director Elizabeth Gaines. We'll take a 30-minute break between her and the trainee roundtable. So remember, we have 2 grad roundtables this week, 2 trainee ones. We're doing it every other day. So the trainees are people that are actually in the course still, and they just have a different perspective. Every grad has a different perspective, but certainly trainees and grads do think about it differently while they're going into it. So we tried to get people that have been in the course for at least a couple of months for you all, and you will get to talk to them and ask them some questions, which is great. Wednesday, we got some great stuff as well. I'll keep you guys posted as we move along throughout the week. Next week, though, just so you have context, is when we start the case studies, business success sessions. I got it right this time. That was very tough for me earlier. So we still have a lot of stuff for you guys over these next 3 weeks, and I hope that you are able to make as much of it as possible. Somehow, none of these people got off in 24 minutes that I went over. Maybe it's because you all know me well enough to know that Ev goes rogue and I just start doing stuff, so maybe you knew what you're getting into. But either way, thank you very much for coming on our grad roundtable, and I will see you